Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brianna Schunzel. I'm the Director of Marketing and Partner Relations for the JVA. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar today titled Using Workflow Software as Your Secret Productivity Weapon, presented by Jodi Schramm. As the founder of Premier Academy, Jodi has been at the helm since 1996. Since the club's inception, she has served as facility owner, club director, and head coach of the 18 Onasuka team. In 20 years, Coach Schramm has led her teams to 4 AAU USA Indoor and Beach National Championships, as well as 36 AAU USA Indoor and Beach Top 5 National Championship finishes. In addition to team success, she has coached 70 AAU USA Indoor and Beach All-American and MVP selections. Consistently ranked as one of the top recruiting clubs in the country, Coach Schramm has trained and placed over 290 athletes to compete at the collegiate level, including 115 players at the Division I level. She has coached 7 players that were eventually named AVCA Division I All-Americans, as well as 2 players that trained with the USA Women's National Team training programs. During this presentation, if you all have any questions, please enter them into the chat box in the control panel on the right side of your screen. We'll answer questions at the end of this session. This session is being recorded, and you'll receive a copy of the session in the next 48 hours. I'm now going to turn the session over to Jodi.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, Jodi.
Great. Well, thanks, Bree, for having me present today on systematic workflow. I hope everybody learns a couple of things that they can take back to their particular offices, and the goal is obviously to get things done. So hopefully I can show you some apps that we use here at Premier that will help you in that endeavor. As a modern society, obviously, we all use a lot of apps. So for us, the key is always finding which ones are going to help us do our business workflow the best and not take away from our time from the courts, which is obviously where a lot of us want to be. As directors and coaches, we have a lot of things that we have to get done throughout the club season, and for some of us throughout the entire year. And we all know there's just not enough hours in the day. So, you know, everybody has their own system of doing things. And I hope that by showing you some apps that we use, that we can give you some inspiration and creating maybe a new system going forward, or maybe just enhancing the system that you have. So in the end, obviously, you know, it's all about creating, you know, workflow. So hopefully the apps that I'm going to show you are new to some of you, or I can show you how to use some of the apps that you guys are already using. So let's go ahead and, you know, which apps to choose. For us, I think that, you know, the principles of the system that you implement are much more important than the actual tools you need or that you use. So basically what that means is, you know, there are a lot of really cool apps out there that, you know, they look fun and they look like they would do a lot for you. But the most important thing is, you know, do you need a lot of apps, or do you just need a few, you know, apps and programs that are going to help you do your business the best? And I think the key is balancing and figuring out which ones those are. So, you know, how do you come up with that? Well, for me, what I did was I analyzed our entire business operations over a period of 1 month. And then what I did was I, you know, jotted down the things that were taking up the most amount of our time on a daily basis throughout an entire month, you know, because maybe the beginning of the month compared to the middle, compared to the end, you know, are going to be different things that take up your time, you know, or it could be, you know, for getting ready for an event, you know, it might be more communication based, you know, that week compared to a payroll week, which might be another week, or sometimes both in the same. You know, so analyzing your business over an entire period of 1 month will help you realize what's taking up the most amount of your time, and that will help you decipher and narrow down your apps that you should be using. The next thing that you want to consider is, are you going to use free apps or are we going to use paid apps? And there are a lot of great free apps out there, and then there are a lot of great free apps that maybe have a paid element to them that might really enhance your system. And I'll kind of get into that a little bit later in some of the apps. Although the majority of the apps that we do use are free, we do spend a lot, we do spend about $200 a month on workflow apps to run our business. But we are a 7-core full-time business, so $200 a month is still a very low number compared to overall operations. So when I get into the apps, I'll kind of give you an idea of which ones are free, which ones you can add on paid elements, and hopefully you can decipher which ones you want to use. There are, I think, 5 simple components to knowing which apps you need to be using. So for me, the number one thing would be I have to be able to take it everywhere. And what I mean by that is this app an app that I can have also on my mobile phone or even on my iPad? And all of the apps that we use also have a mobile element. If you can't take that app with you, then that app becomes, in my mind, 50% useful, 50% not useful. So should you really be using it? For example, how many things do you think you need to get done and or need to jot down a task, but you're like, well, I got to wait till I get back to the office to do that. Or I just need to email myself a note. Well, then you just got to check your email. So taking it everywhere for me is number one. The next thing that I think is number one component would be capturing everything. And what that means is, does your system capture absolutely everything that you have to do? And, between your, 6 or 7 apps, I consider that one complete system. And if you have, 10% of the things that you need to do cannot be captured in those 6 or 7 apps that you choose to use, then you need to find another app that does that other 10% and add that to your system. So having a system that captures 100% of the things that you need to do gives you a lot of freedom, and then it also allows you to not forget something because it's going to be within your system. The next thing would be breaking it into small tasks. And this is really important because for me, I get a lot of projects put on my plate, and we have a lot of projects that we do here within our organization, within our club. And, big projects are those things that easily get put by the wayside. And it's a lot easier to get projects done if you break them into smaller tasks. So a good rule to use would be take it and divide it into smaller tasks. And you can even take those smaller tasks and divide those into subtasks. And if you can put them into tasks that take 1 hour or less, then it allows you to estimate the total amount of time that it's going to take you to do that project. Because sometimes I look at something and I think, wow, I can get that done in 7 hours, when in all reality, it's going to take me 2 days. So I need to be able to break that down into 1 hour or less. The other thing it does is it allows me to delegate. If I can give somebody a task that can be completed within an hour, I know here in our business, there's a lot of extra time where somebody might have an hour, where there's maybe monitoring something, and I can throw that small task on their plate, and it just helps me break down that larger project. The next thing would be to prioritize. I have a lot of things that I have to do throughout the day, and I probably complete about 15 to 20 things throughout the day, and that would be within about a 10 to 12 hour workday. So, but the most important thing for me to do is to figure out, of my tasks that I'm going to do that day, which ones are more important and which ones have to be done by the end of the day, before I start something else. So at the start of the day, when I come into work, I always prioritize my tasks, and I always make a priority to stick to that system then. And it doesn't mean that I always complete everything. But all that tells me, if I don't complete it, is that needs to be my number one priority the very next day. The next thing would be managing accountability. For us, and I'll show you in our very first app, this is really important. So each day I look at which tasks are still open and which ones are in progress by myself and by my employees. And what I do is I ask questions at the beginning of the day and a lot throughout the day. I make comments on those tasks, and I hold each person on my staff accountable to any tasks that they are assigned. As tasks are completed, I automatically add more tasks to ensure that there's productivity on all projects. I never let anybody sit without tasks on their plate. For me, I'm a micromanager. Not everybody is, but I have to say that, within a workflow system, you have to have some elements of micromanaging, otherwise your projects will never get done. So, kind of saying all of that, I'm going to take you kind of into our very first app, which is called MeisterTask. And MeisterTask for us is a godsend. It's an app that we actually found last summer, and we were working with a Kanban system, which was a manual system that we had set up in our conference room, and it was great because it was very visual. I could see what everybody was working on at all times. And a Kanban system, or a whipboard, work in progress, allows you to be able to take something from beginning to in progress to complete, and it's visual for everybody. The problem with it is that's the one thing it wasn't mobile. So MeisterTask allowed us to take that exact same system, put it into an app version, and it allowed us to be able to do it mobilely, and it allowed us to be able to do it from different offices. So here at Premier, we have 4 different offices that our staff work from, and they're 300 feet away from each other, some of them. So for us, it was a lot easier for us to start working with MeisterTask. It's an essential daily task manager. So it is a free app. I was telling somebody yesterday, it's such a great app that I feel like at some point they're gonna add a cost to it. But the one thing that MeisterTask does, allows you to create projects. It allows you to add team members. You can set your notifications. You can discuss details, and you connect to any cloud-based storage such as Google Drive. So I'm going to go into MeisterTask now online, and I'm going to kind of give you a rundown on what MeisterTask does for you. So this is the home screen of MeisterTask, which a lot of people think is cool because it kind of looks like your desktop. The very first thing that you'll see in MeisterTask on the left-hand side are going to be projects. So these are projects that we have set up. They are our major projects within our organization. And the little numbers that you see next to them would be the tasks that I'm personally assigned within those projects. So I've assigned myself those things to do. And within them, there are other tasks that are assigned to other employees. On the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see basically a notifications bar. And in the notifications bar, you can set that to be whatever you want it to be. So I have my notifications personally set to only notify me periodically, so that I only get notifications every few days when people have completed things, because we have so many tasks that my notifications would be going off, every few minutes. So, you can kind of see a little bit here. I don't think I can minimize this. Basically, it says Chad needs to put a basketball flyer up. Chad has completed, Marco's pizza task. These are all little tasks that are going to be within these projects, which I'll show you in a second. Down here on the very bottom, it says Stephanie has commented, on, adding a pickleball rotating pairs date. So there's a comment there. So I need to go and look at that comment and see what she said, because it probably needs me to comment back or make a decision. So, this is a really simple interface. And then, the notifications bar, I can turn that off, once I've already looked at all of those. So I'll kind of pop into a project here. It'll be pretty simple. Let's go into repairs and maintenance as a simple one. So within repairs and maintenance, this is a project. So these are things that are open right now that need to be done, and you can see on the side who that's assigned to. So label our equipment bins is assigned to Chad. And so he has not put that in progress yet, but it's something that he has to get done. These are all things that are assigned to other people. The other thing I can do is I can make it a priority. So Jeff Hoffman would be, this is our maintenance man, and it says priority on here, and I want that done by February 3rd, but he put a note. So it obviously February 3rd is passed. I know what that note is because I put it, which said I want it done by April 1st now. So I just actually moved the date. you know, everything that's in progress is here, and then anything that is done is over here. So that would be, you know, one simple thing, you know, and then, you know, there's projects for just about everything that we do as a major thing. And I can assign anybody that particular task, or I can assign it to myself. The other thing I can do is I can go over here and I can search. So for example, I'd like to search everything that Chad is working on. So I'm going to look for @Chad. He's our director of ops, and it'll pull up every single project that Chad is working on, or I'm sorry, that is assigned to him, whether or not he's working on it or not. You know, and this is really handy for me because I'll say, okay, Chad, you need to get busy. You got some things that are still open here, you know, that I really thought would be done by now. And or I can see that he only has a few things left, and it's time for me, you know, to add things to his plate. So that's a really big thing for me, you know, as the coordinator of a lot of it, to kind of, you know, double check all the employees at all times. The other thing I can do is I can just pull up my own task that exact same way, and it'll tell me all of the things that I'm assigned to. So when I come to work, I immediately look at that, you know, and I'm like, okay, here are all the things I need to do. I add a priority to them on my desk, you know, and then I always look right at the employees as well. The biggest thing about Meister Task is that, you know, it allows you to be mobile. So I'm going to go into miscellaneous, you know, I'm going to see, I'll add a task in here. I'm going to say clean out the kitchen sink. And, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and add that task. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add that task to Chad just because he'll hate me for that. I can add a due date to it if I want to. So I'm going to say, you know what, I want that done by tomorrow. And if I want to add a comment, you know, I can. And then pretty much that's it. And then I can click out of it, and that is automatically assigned to Chad, and it is in it is an open task right here, as you can see, and then it's in miscellaneous. So I can move that at any point, and I can reassign that task. If Chad says, Jodi, I don't have time to do that today, you know, you can comment back, and I can reassign that to somebody else, and or I can move it into repairs and maintenance where it probably should be. So Meister Task for me is probably the #1 most useful app that we use. And I'm sure you guys will love it because it's free. The next app that we use is Canva. So Canva for us is a really easy to use design and marketing app, and it does a lot of great things because it allows you to print things off, you know, flyers and posters and you know, postcards and things like that. But it also allows you to create really cool web graphics. So, you know, we use Sport Engine as our web page, you know, foundation. And so, you know, Sport Engine has some limitations to it in terms of developing graphics, but the workaround to that would be to develop your own. And a lot of people are great, you know, in working with Adobe system, and it's not something that everybody's great at, like me personally. So we found Canva, which is another free app. It has a free version to it. You can add a paid version to it, which will increase some of your it'll increase some of your restrictions in terms of working with other people and other teammates. But I'll be honest with you, the free version is just as good as the paid version. So the biggest thing it does is it will create PNG images for you for your web page that are really great, and it allows you to change the sizes and things like that. The other thing you can do is you can share it directly onto social media. And this is a mobile app, so you can design it right on your phone or your iPad and post it right up onto your social media really easily. So let me take you to Canva. So here's what Canva looks like when you first get into it. It's really simple. First thing you're going to see is the fact that I used it right away for this PowerPoint. That took me, you know, less than 15 minutes. I went and found, you know, these little icons, shoved them into this, and created a, you know, a nice little graphic. The same with this one. So these were part of the PowerPoint today, so you can see how simple it was. These are all, we keep everything in here so that we can go back in and we can go in and modify it. You can see all of these right here. We started a new thing on our webpage that I'll show you in a little bit, where we're doing a lot of video education for the sport of volleyball. So we made all of our webpage icons on here. We do a lot of posters and a lot of marketing online on social media. We do all of our sponsor graphics in here. And then we store it. So anytime we need to go make a change, the easiest thing, for example, this Toys for Tots tournament, this coming year, all I have to do is go in and change that date. So everything is stored in here for us, which is great. And you can see we've done a lot. We use Canva every single day for something that we need to put up. So there's a lot of good things in here. And I'm going to go ahead and do something really quick. I'll create a nice little design for you. And see, we're going to create something we'll do something fun here. So I can take this particular one. I can change it up really fast, make it say, it's a great day at the JVA. Okay. And, I can change the background. And I've got uploads in here, so you can upload all your own pictures. Here's one of Jinx. I'll put him in there. And I can change the date here if I want to. And then basically I'm going to take this and I'm going to download it. So it gives you a couple different ways to download. I don't know if you can see that. Here we go. I can hide that. So basically I can download this as a PNG, so I can put it up on my webpage, or I can download this as a PDF to print. And that way I can print it and it'll look really good in print form. So the other thing I can do is I can go up here and say, you know what, I want to change the dimensions of it. I want to make it a Facebook app or an Instagram post or a Twitter post. So if I want to, so right now it is I believe I've clicked on Instagram. So I want to make this a Facebook post. It's going to automatically change the dimensions to fit Facebook. So that is a paid version of it. And I believe that paid version, to get that part of it, is about $7 a month. So for us, well worth it. Otherwise, you can't change the dimensions. You have to set the dimensions right when you start. So for us, that's just kind of worth it. The other thing I can do is I can go up here and I can share it. I'd like to share it with somebody. And let's say I'd like to share that with Stephanie, and I'd like to let her edit it. She's our office manager. She can edit it, and then all I have to do is log in and I'll see her edits, and then we can hit send. So I can also make it public for anybody in Canva to look at, completely up to me. So for us, Canva, has been really exciting, mainly because it's free. I can also like templates, and then I can delete anything that I don't want. So we really like Canva a lot. So hopefully you guys will like it as much as we do. So the next thing would be You Can Book Me. You Can Book Me is basically, it's a workflow, productivity app that you can use when you have people that need to be scheduled. So for example, in our case, we have a lot of private lessons. We have a lot of things that our instructors do. It gives you unlimited booking fields, and it integrates with Google Calendar. So You Can Book Me is one of the apps that's not free. It really depends on how many instructors you have on the cost, but I believe our cost is about $36 a month for this. But it pays itself off in dividends with the amount of private lessons that we have. The biggest thing that it also does is it allows you to receive payments in advance. So it integrates with Square, and it integrates with PayPal. We use it on the PayPal end of things. It also gives you the ability to decline lessons. If somebody requests something and you don't want it, you can just decline it. So let me go into, let's go into You Can Book Me. So this is You Can Book Me is pretty simple, but this is our dashboard portion of it. So essentially what we can do is we can set the times that we want. We can say we only want people to book within 15 hours of a lesson. This is what our booking form looks like, very simple. We just want, their name and address, email, things like that. These are the services that we offer in terms of booking private lessons. These are the teams. So these are the people that offer these services here. We can offer a coupon if we want to, and then we can collect payments. We can set cancellations. We only allow people to cancel within 24 hours. And they also get a reminder, for example, they're going to get a reminder 2 days ahead of time, allowing them, to remind them that they have a lesson coming up. And then they also get a follow-up email right after, asking them if they would like to book again. So the easiest thing that You Can Book Me does is when you're looking at it here, I'll kind of give you an example of the time. So this is what a customer would see when they log in, which is pretty simple. So they would see that these are the available lessons that we have left for this week, and they can click on any of them and book right there. From the user viewpoint, it would look like this. I go to my Google Calendar, and I would like to open up a lesson for an instructor for coming up, let's see here, in April. So I would go to, say, Tuesday the 28th. All I got to do is click on it. And for us, we tag ours as the word available. And I'm going to make that be a lesson availability for Ben. So it's going to go onto Ben's calendar. And I'm going to make that be a 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. lesson. I make him available and I hit save. He's now available for a lesson at 10 a.m. on that day. And if I go back to You Can Book Me, you would see that lesson here. I forgot what date I put it, but you would see that lesson on here at that time. So it's a really seamless system, and for us, I think it works really well. So I think that You Can Book Me will help a lot of people that instead of going back and forth via email or returning phone calls, pretty simple. They pay right through PayPal, so you get the automatic notification when they pay, and you get your payments automatically. So pretty simple. They can also reschedule and they can cancel, and you can set your preferences for that. The next one that we use is called When I Work. This is probably the other one that we use all day, every day. It's pretty easy in terms of scheduling and communicating with your employees and your volunteers. Now, obviously, we have a large facility and some clubs are much smaller, but you certainly, have coaches and you certainly have other staff that you need to schedule, and maybe even you want to use it for your volunteers. We use this for everybody, including our volunteers, including kids that work off their club fees here for us. They're also in the system, and I'll kind of go in and show you what it does. We love it. So You Can Book Me, I'm sorry, When I Work looks like this. So when I go into it and I log in, this is exactly what it would look like. So this is our week right here. And basically these are all of the positions that people work for us in. And what I do is we go through and we do it every 2 weeks, just like most businesses. We'll schedule 2 weeks in advance. And this is what people are scheduled to do here for that week. So we practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you can see that, the coaches, if they're assigned to be a coach here, that's what they're working for that day. And throughout the week, you can see what everybody's scheduled to do. So I look at this and I can see what everybody's doing. I can see when they're supposed to be here, and I can see what they're assigned to do when they're here. If you look down here, you can see even our volunteers. These are kids that are working off their club fees, and you can see that they're even their volunteer shifts. So the way it works is they have a mobile app, and they set their notifications however they want. Maybe they want to be reminded the day before they work. Maybe they want to be reminded 2 hours before they work. It's completely up to them. But they have an app that they log into, and they also then clock in and clock out. So that's another part of this system. So we do require them to clock in and clock out. And if they don't clock in on time or they don't clock out on time, I get a notification of that as well. We have a lot of employees, so I get a lot of those notifications, and sometimes I turn them off. But you can kind of go through and see, what everybody's doing. Our interns are scheduled through the day, strength coaches and things like that. The other thing that it allows people to do is, if you look up here, these are notifications. So for example, this is one of our interns. She's requesting this time off on Saturday, April 15th. I can approve that, or I can deny that, or I can just comment on that if I want to. So these are things that need my action right now because they've requested it. It could also be, other things as well. So you can see I've denied some things, I've accepted some things. So if I go to my dashboard, let's see, go to my dashboard. This is the other thing that it does for you, which is kind of neat. Well, this is probably a little low end, but our budget for this payroll period is $14,309 for payroll for this week. That's what for this payroll period, that's what it's scheduled to be. So we budgeted it. We've said this is how much we want to pay out in that period of time. And this is today's schedule. So I can see these are just the people working today. So if somebody's not here, I know why. It gives me my labor cost. And then it also gives me attendance notifications. So for example, this girl, she forgot to clock out, this person clocked in late, things like that. And I can go in and I can, just clear out all those notifications pretty quickly. And then our payroll person will just finalize payroll right from here, which is also integrated with QuickBooks. So a lot of people use QuickBooks, which is pretty cool. And then I can also do a work chat. So I can send somebody a note. I can do that. So I can go into any employee at any time. And if I want to, I can say, okay, hey, I'd like to look at Brett, and I'd like to see, okay, Brett is, has his email and his phone number in here. I can see, okay, Brett's being paid, $11 an hour to do this. And maybe he has some other things in here too. Maybe he's being paid, $18 an hour to do something else. I can have notes and details and things like that, or I can delete that employee as well. So, this is a really essential part of our software. We use it every single day. Brett, I'm sorry, I want to go back and show you this too. Brett can also go in and he can set his availability. So let me go back to the scheduler. This is really cool because it allows us, people are always saying, hey, I need this day off, or hey, don't forget I can't work on this day, or I have a class on this day. And, we got out of that system a long time ago, and we said, you need to put that, into when I work. So if you see these little green things right here, it tells me this is when Brett prefers to work. So he prefers to work from 4 to 11:45 on these days. Or like say we have an adult official, okay, he's unavailable from 8 to 5. So I know that I cannot schedule him to referee prior to 5 p.m. So if I do, it'll look like this. I'll get a little red dot and it tells me, hey, he wasn't available until 7, but you scheduled him at 6:25. So that's something that jumps out at me that we'll have to go in and either change or ask him if he is truly available. So this girl has a class till 7. I know that she is not going to be here until 5:30. So we'll just go in and change that to be 5:30. Okay, so that's another one of our essential apps that we really like, and I can certainly answer any questions about that later. The next thing would be Evernote. Evernote is one of my personal apps that I use. Not everybody here at Premier uses it. They all have their own little note system. I'd like to get them all into Evernote, but Evernote for me has been something that I've been using for many years. And basically the way Evernote works is I carry it with me everywhere. So I have little notebooks in Evernote, and different types of notebooks. I can name them pretty much anything. I have one for articles, I have one for training, club information. I'm always thinking when I'm on the go. I'm at tournaments and I see something, or I'm at someone else's facility and I see something I like, and I don't want to either email that to myself. It's going to clog up my email. So I will just put it into Evernote, and I'll try to put it into the notebook that it goes into, and it syncs across all of my devices instantly. You can do so many different things with Evernote. For example, in articles, I have a book. So I have a full book in here, the talent code. You can upload files. You can upload pictures. You can pretty much do anything. It'll hold so many different things. It also syncs to other different types of apps as well. Like one of them is called Pen Ultimate, which is great with iPad, so I can draw. So it looks like I was drawing something a few years ago. I don't know what I was drawing here about a parking lot, but it kept that. So that's from 2014. So you can see how long, I've been using it. And basically, if I'm like, hey, it's a gold ball challenge idea, I put that in there. That's a little fun thing that we do. Or we're training notes are a bigger one. So this is a camp that I did, and I'm like, hey, these are the drills as I'm thinking about them. I wrote them all down. And so that stays in there forever. So my apps go back pretty far for years, and that way I never lose anything, and it's with me for years and years to come. So that would be Evernote in a nutshell. Pretty simple app. I pay for there's a free version. I pay for the paid version, which is $5 a month. You can get it right through iTunes, and it allows you to do some a little bit more complex things with the paid version, but the free version is, you know, fairly simple as well. HelloSign would be the next one. You know, as club directors and business owners, you know, we have a lot of contracts, we have a lot of documents, and obviously, you know, there's a push to be paperless. And one of the things that we did was we cut down our copy costs here significantly, thousands of dollars within a calendar year by trying to go all paperless with all of our contracts and documents that, you know, our everyday customers sign. So one way of doing that, especially with something that, you know, is going to hold a lot of legal weight, we use HelloSign. So HelloSign integrates right with Google, which is great. So I'll kind of get into HelloSign here. It looks like I got logged out. So HelloSign basically stores all of our documents that our parents sign. So what we do is, I'll kind of go to a document here. And these are documents that we sent out at the beginning of the year, and we like to do them a little different. I like to send them out all as one thing. So I'll give you a preview of this one. So you basically, the parent gets this document via email, and looks like this is our financial agreement and code of conduct, our JVA medical release waiver, JVA, you know, participant release, player and parent code of conduct. Then we have our attendance and injuries agreement, information important dates, our schedule, team pictures, yada, yada, yada. So has a lot of information all within one document, and they sign it where all the signatures are needed. And then I immediately get a notification that that parent has signed it. And the one thing it does is it stores it then right here in HelloSign, but it also stores it in our Google Drive. So I have all of our contracts for, you know, year, you can see how many pages it goes back. For all of the previous years as well, HelloSign just creates a folder right in our Google Drive, and I can pull up those contracts at any point. And lots of parents will say, I didn't really, you know, I didn't realize the attendance policy was this, and I immediately just send them over their contract, you know, and it kind of ends that discussion pretty quickly. So, so HelloSign is you know, not something we use every day, but I would have to say that we use it at least one time throughout the month as well. So the next thing that we use on a daily basis would be a communication app. So obviously we need to do a lot of communicating with our players and a lot of communicating with our parents and with our coaches. So all three of these apps are great apps. We personally right now use GroupMe. We've been using that for probably the last 5 years. We're going to be moving into Band, which I'll kind of go over, has some different features that GroupMe does not. And then TeamSnap as well is the same type of app and does a lot of similar things as well. And TeamSnap has more functions to it because it allows you to do some customizing things with your web page, and it also allows you to receive payments and registrations. So TeamSnap is a little bit more all-encompassing if you're looking for more than that in an app, but I'll kind of go over GroupMe with you and kind of show you what that does. So all of our kids are in GroupMe, and what we do is we tier train here. So I have one tier that has about 80 kids in it. So you know, you can see up on the left, the premier tier, that's one chat. I can have as many chats as I want open, and I have this open on my desktop so that I'm not always just texting, you know, with my phone. It's right here on my computer, but it's also obviously a mobile app. So a lot of people are familiar with GroupMe and things like that, but I use it to be able to have a lot of different types of little groups going on so that everybody doesn't have to hear, you know, everything that I'm going to say. So maybe I just want to talk to the setters. So let's see, I have the setters open here. You know, with this one, I'm always sending them things, you know, watch this video, or, hey, I need you guys to be registering for this camp at Sports Performance in April. I saw this little picture, I thought it was great. Here's a video I just sent them that said, you know, watch the ABCA video tip of the week. So, you know, kids are very mobile, as we know that, you know, the unplugged generation, they will look at anything that's right in front of them, but, you know, if it requires them to go search, they won't. So if I can put it right in their hands, I'm pretty sure that they will see it. And then this is let's see, it looks like an individual chat. This is my setter actually on my on my 18s team, and I was just doing a little bit of individual chat with her, and reminding her that we need to, basically reschedule her skills taping stuff. So, I can personally communicate with one kid, or I can, personally communicate with an entire team. I can personally communicate with an entire group. So, the benefits to Band, which is the one that we're going to be moving into next year, it has some different things that GroupMe does not have that I really like. So, for example, with Band, you can have one-way communication, and a lot of people wouldn't think that this would be important, but a few years back we had a group chat set up with parents, but you can imagine how that can go wrong if something happens and their daughter's not playing or whatever, and I'm putting out a little bit of information about a tournament, and and then one of the parents is a little disgruntled and she posts something. Well, now all your parents see that. So one thing that Band does that the other ones do not do is it allows one-way communication. So I can have a group chat set up with all of my chaperones or even all of my parents, and I can communicate only with them. They can't communicate back in that chat. So if I just want to tell them a source of information about the tournament, I can do that without, risking the fact that they're going to make a comment back that, 160 parents see. The other thing that it does as well is it allows you to take a poll. So let's say I want to take a survey, or I'll say, hey girls, where do you want to eat dinner, on Saturday night? It allows me to create a little poll and all the kids can vote. And then you kind of know where they want to do, and you don't have to go back and forth on your group chat, for an hour figuring out where they want to eat. It allows you to upload a file. It also allows you to put an event on a calendar. So if I put that there, then I can just go up to my events and it'll tell me that group has something going on that day. This is something outside of our realm, but it will allow you to split a bill. If you're going, maybe I'm taking the coaches out to dinner, and allows us to split the bill automatically, and they can pay me back. It tells me exactly how much they're going to be paying me right through here. So kind of neat. Looks like Stephanie joined my little Band app, and it has stickers and a lot of fun things. So Band is really cool. It's good for kids. It's really user friendly, but it also allows you to follow other people's events and other bands, which group chats don't normally do, but it'll allow you to basically go into Band as a whole, and I can follow any different types of other groups. So I won't get into that, but I can discover any other group and I can follow them. Very similar to Google Plus and things like that, but I mean, I can follow dog lovers and cat lovers or anything else that I would really want to do there. I can follow other things. So it's pretty cool because it allows you to kind of just not just be in your own little world. The next thing that I'll go over would be Euclid. So Euclid is basically an e-commerce site for selling items, and a lot of people say, oh, we don't sell a lot of items, but for one thing that we get bombarded with all the time is I need more socks, or I need another pair of knee pads, or I need this, and we have practice attire and things like that. So and then we have people that just want to buy things on the fly, so what we did was we went to Euclid, which is great because it has a free version to it, and it's an instant online store that you can use not only on your web page, more importantly, you can put it right on your Facebook. So you can sell directly from your Facebook, not just products, but you can sell services. So let's say you're going to run a quick clinic, in a couple weeks, you can put that service right on your Facebook using Euclid, which is really cool. So I'll kind of go through Euclid with you really quickly. This is the back end of Euclid. It's kind of boring, but once you kind of get in here, you can set it to look like whatever you want to. For us, you can ship items as well. You can add taxes. It allows you to accept any type of payments, which is great. We use PayPal for you can book me and other things, so we use PayPal for this as well. So that makes our life a lot simpler, just only using one pay system. And then you can design it. I can mail notification. I can send somebody their invoice if I want to do an invoice system. Social tools, like I said, we can put this right on. We can put this right on Tumblr, Twitter, Google, and then there's a POS, and it certainly connects to other POS systems as well. And if you go up here where it says visit your Premier Academy store, this is on our webpage. So, it goes right to our store. If you click on our net zone, we have a pretty simple store. It's, e-commerce is not something that is, a big part of our business plan, but, these are things that we sell pretty much on a daily basis. So this takes you right to our store. I can click on shoes. I can buy them now. And we have a choice here where it says, would you like them to be shipped? Would you like to pick them up, or would you like them to be provided to the athlete at practice? So, if I get that in the morning, somebody goes and takes care of it, and that athlete has them as soon as they come to practice. They're just sitting here waiting for them because their parent has already paid for them. So, but I could also make this services, like I said, and we can put this in store right on our Facebook as well. So that's pretty cool. So that's Euclid kind of, in a nutshell. I will go back a little bit here to Canva. I wanted to show you this. Going back to Canva real quick because I forgot about this, but if you look at the icons, these are icons that we make in Canva and we use them on our webpage. So pretty simple. These are all the tournaments we're going to be going to. We take their logo, or sometimes we have to make one and we put it there. And this is where our parents go for like club travel. So pretty simple. We can also, we're doing something right now, like I was telling you, where we have a player's corner, and we're doing, this is our new thing of education. So if you go to our webpage, we made all these in Canva within a minute. If I click on passing, it'll take me right to YouTube, and these are all the things that we've tagged as passing videos. And so in terms of the app, it becomes really, really useful on a daily basis with Canva. So let's go back to our PowerPoint here. The goal basically, is to get things done. We all know that. So, it's common, I think, for workflow methods to take extra time up front. So your first question is, wow, that's going to take me a lot of time to set all that stuff up. It should take you a little bit of time to set all of the things up, that when you're creating a workflow system that's going to, help you save time and help you get things done, it's going to take work. But the goal should be that they become increasingly effortless over time. I've been using some of these apps for 6 months, and I've been using some of them for 4 years. So, they're, even the ones I've used for 6 months, I would say are pretty effortless at this point. And they all get little upgrades to them, and certainly things that we have to learn over time. But, if you find that, using an app is taking up a lot of your time and energy, then you probably need to stop using that app and find an app that is going to be better for you in that same category. If you find your group chat is, too difficult, or you find your note system's too difficult, just find another one. Don't think outside the box too far. Just think, okay, if Evernote doesn't work for me, does Noted work for me? Everybody kind of has their own way of doing things. And for me, the number one thing, is to get things done. So, when I'm looking at apps and I'm looking at adding or deleting from our workflow, the number one thing for me is going to be, is it mobile? Because I have to be able to take that with me everywhere. Is it free, or is it going to cost us a lot of money? Is it, the most useful app for us? And meaning, am I going to get a lot of use out of that? And does it integrate with other things? If you notice, I used some of those things together. I used Canva to create little icons for MeisterTask. I used Canva to create icons for Euclid Store. My Evernote syncs to my Google Drive. My calendar syncs to You Can Book Me, and my When I Work syncs to our QuickBooks. So, do they integrate together? Because if you're choosing apps because they're fun, but they don't integrate, well, now you're costing yourself even more time. We use an entirely Google system here at Premier, so everything has to integrate for us to Google because it can be stored and saved forever on Google Drive. So that's kind of a little bit of a tidbit. And then I'll kind of give you this other little bonus tip, because it is all about getting things done, and basically what's taking up the most amount of your time. And I would say in our business, because our offices, even though they're all in one building, they are in different parts of the building. So we do a lot of Google Chat, and we succumb to texting as well. We do texting when we're on site and off site, and chat apps and texting can be productivity killers. They basically can interrupt you at any time. So There was a study that said the average employee loses 2.5 hours a day to distractions and interruptions, mainly from chats and texting and email. And if you think about it, that adds up to an entire workday. So here's what I do at our work, and I try really hard to stick to it, but I will shut down all apps when I need to really focus on work, and I disable my notifications from chat apps, and I disable all the notifications from my mobile apps. The easiest thing to do for people is to reply to those notifications. So if you turn them off, it's not this instant, need to reply to something right away. I don't permit texting or emailing anytime I'm having a meeting with my staff, or even a meeting with, athletes or parents. I don't permit that because, that's gonna obviously eat up time. And me personally, I only check my text messages about every couple of hours when I'm at work, and I try really hard to stick to that. The younger generation feels like you have to, text everybody right back, but, unless there's an emergency, what I would assume somebody would call me, rather than text me. Most things can be, answered, a little bit later, within an hour or two. It doesn't have to be right away. So that's usually the biggest productivity killer would be, managing texts and chat. So, and it allows you obviously to get more work done. So those are all the apps in a nutshell. So I wanted to leave a little bit of time for questions because I know that some of those apps I went through really quickly, and I can certainly go back and show you how to work any of them or answer any questions that you have on any of the apps. So feel free to ask.
Thanks, Jodi. Great information. And there's so many apps out there. It's nice to, get some recommendations from someone that's using them on a daily basis like you are. So thank you. We do have a few questions though, so let's get to them. The first one, which you may have gotten before, but has there ever been a situation where an app you were using shut down and you lost information that you needed?
No, not that I can think of, no. For the most part, like I said, they're mobile apps, but they're also all, based on your desktop. So, I guess worst case scenario, an app doesn't work, I can always go to another device, but none of the ones that we use have we ever had that problem, no.
Okay, thank you. And the next question, can you organize your files in the Canva app?
Can you organize them? Oh, that's actually a really great question. You can, in the paid version, you can put your stuff into folders. I have not done that particularly because they still show up in this main portion right here. So even if I went in and I made, so you can see add new folder. So I can add folders and I can put them into folders, but they don't delete from the main screen. So yes, I can say, hey, these are going to be all of my marketing. These are going to be all of my web page, and I can just click on that and it'll show me just those. So yes, that is possible. It's just, I can find them pretty quickly. So I just really haven't done that yet.
Thank you. And next question coming from a club director from a pretty large number of teams. Do you have any difficulty getting parents to subscribe to some of these apps like Band or GroupMe? Do they need to create an account to engage with these apps?
The players, it's mandatory. So one of the things that we tell them at the very beginning of the season is your daughter has to have they have to subscribe to GroupMe. So, with GroupMe, it doesn't have to be a smartphone. So they can, have, a non-smartphone and still be on GroupMe because it will just come through to them as a text message. Most kids have smartphones these days, but even our youngest ones, and we go all the way down to 11, even them. So they're all in one large group chat. And then our chaperones are in one and they're required to be in it. No, I don't find any problem doing that because, like I said, we micromanage. So, we give them, there's like a 2-day period where we say, okay, they get the notification to join, and the ones that don't join, I just have Chad call them and say, nope, you have to join. You have to be on there by this date. If you're not on there, by this date, then, we're pretty strict. We just say, Sally can't practice that day. So there's usually not a problem doing that. So it tells you when everybody's joined. So if you're expecting 87 people in the group and it says you have 86 members, you figure out the person that's missing and you call them up and say, you got to join the group. If you want to be on the team, you have to be part of the communication. So no, I mean, maybe we run things a little bit stricter here, but I haven't ever had that problem, no.
Thank you. And next question, they're rolling in. How do you populate your contact info in these apps? Do you individually create a contact for each player? Do you import them from a file, export them from a Sport Engine?
No, we actually, with the GroupMe, we right away on our very first day, we ask them for their cell phone number and then the athlete's cell phone number. It is part of the registration, yes, in Sport Engine. It's one of the very first questions, player name, player cell phone. A lot of times they will make a mistake and still put the parent cell phone there. So I'll be honest, we have what we call opening day. Which is a day that we go over everything administratively with our kids. So on that day, we sit down and they bring their phones, their iPad, whatever they're going to use, and we go through everything. And we'll say, okay, Sally, we can't add you to the group because it's your mom's phone number, and so she'll have to give us her phone number. So we kind of just sit down and take care of that. It might take an hour or so on opening day, but that way we know that they're all in there, and they can put their own little picture and all that good stuff in there too. So, but yes, they get a notification right on their phone that says you've been invited to the, let's see, here's Premier Tier. You've been invited to the Premier Tier GroupMe. So they have to click yes, and then they have to join it. So, but yes, we will spend a day where we make sure that they're all in there, and we make sure that it is the athlete doing it right there in front of us. A couple of years ago, we didn't realize it till the first month was over that it was actually a mom in the kids GroupMe, because I don't know, maybe she just didn't want her daughter to have that freedom. I'm not sure, but we could kind of tell by the responses the person was making, and we just asked the kid. She said, "Yes, my mom." So we had to fix that. We had to get mom out of the kids GroupMe, and put mom in the mom's GroupMe. So. Yeah, I mean, there's little things like that, but no, we haven't had any problems like that.
Thanks. And the next couple questions are for Meister Task. How far in advance can you schedule a task on there, and does it sync with Google Calendar?
It absolutely does sync with Google Calendar, and I can put a due date. That's probably a good question. I'm pretty sure I can put a due date for, well, that's a project. Do you want to do a project? Do you want to do a task? Here, we'll do a task because that's a little quicker. I'll do clean the kitchen again. And let's see, I can put a due date of anything. I mean, it looks like I can go pretty far. I can go out years. So yeah, I mean, I think, is that the question, is how far out can you go?
Yeah. So
it looks like you can go pretty far out. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so a project is different than a task, though. So a project, in our case, we make concessions, that's its own project because that's an area of our business. But, for, let's say it's the JVA, ours is all of events, but yours might be the Buckeye Challenge. That might be its own project. And then under the Buckeye Challenge, you would put all of the things that you need to do for that project. And then I can close that project out. Let's say it's over, I can just close that project out then. So it won't show up on the side anymore, or you can archive that project so that next year when you're going to run the Buckeye Battle again, you can pull that project back up, maybe 6 months out, and then that project is still there. You can see all of the things that you did the year before that were completed, and now you know all the things that need to happen again.
Well, thanks, Jodi. Awesome.
Okay.
I'm sure everyone walked away with some notes, and in addition to those notes, we're going to be sending the video of this webinar along with the PowerPoint to you later today. So keep an eye out on your email, and we're going to go ahead and wrap up this webinar by talking about some other opportunities that the JVA has for education. We are going to have a couple beach webinars towards the end of April and possibly into May. So keep an eye out for those. We'll notify you through email and let you know when the registration is live, which should be in the next week or two. We also have our Coach to Coach video of the week that we share every week. It shares drills and ideas for coaches We have resources to help you run your club, and Jodi provide a lot of them today. We also share information on accounting and marketing and running an event, structuring your club, training your coaches, things like that, and how to connect your club, how to manage parents, players, education for all of them. And again, want to thank everyone for joining us. We're going to go ahead and sign off and hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.
Take care.